Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Tales from the Age of Men, the Lord of the Rings modification for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, and oh boy do I have some exciting news today. The mod is going to be releasing their dev build to the public for people to jump in and mess around, see the progress and just have a lot of fun with. It'll be going live today on Nexus Mods and ModDB. I'll leave links to them down below in the pinned comment as soon as they do go live. And their plan is to release these dev builds about twice a year. I say that. This mod has only been in development for just under a year. So when I say that, this is their second kind of release showing off what they've done in the dev build. But keep in mind that this is still such a work in progress. Realistically, the mod is nowhere near done. But it's a way for the developers to basically just showcase what they've been working on to everybody and just say thank you for all the support that people have been showing them over on their Discord, in my videos, and in obviously everybody else's videos that have been playing it. Because honestly, it is really impressive the amount of work that they've actually done in the past year. It's incredible. Obviously, a large portion of that is down to the incredible hard-working devs over on the mod, especially Hatred as well, who has poured tens of thousands of pounds into the mod as well to commission armors, weapons. A lot of the Patreon support as well has gone towards commissioning that exact same stuff as well. So it's just really awesome. And of course as well, all the other modders outside of Tales of the Age of Men who work on their own stuff, all diving in, giving help, and just making this a dream come true for us Bannerlord, Lord of the Rings fans. Before we dive in, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, World Anvil, the ultimate tool for anyone building worlds, running campaigns, or writing stories. If you've ever felt like your notes are scattered across 50 different documents, this is the solution you have been looking for. World Anvil is basically your all-in-one creative command center. It comes with over 25 world-building templates that make it super easy to create wiki-style presentations of your world, lore, or campaign notes. Got a map? You can turn it into an interactive map with clickable regions, notes, and articles. Want to track your story timeline or campaign history? Their chronicle features let you plot events across time and space at the same time. It's incredible for keeping track of sprawling plots. If you're a game master, you're gonna love the campaign management and digital storytelling screen. World Anvil supports 106 systems including D&D 5e, or you can even build your own custom system. And if you're a player, World Anvil has the most extensive character management tool I've ever seen. Character sheets, journals, spellbooks, inventory, literally everything you need to bring your character to life. But it's not just for tabletop gamers. Writers can use the manuscript tool to draft novels or short stories, while the relationship feature helps keep track of your characters and how they connect in the world you've been creating. So whether you're a writer, a GM, a player, or just a creative world builder, World Anvil gives you everything you need in one place. And the best part, you can get 51% off any annual subscription by using the special link below. And code Jackie. That's right, over half to finally organize your world campaign and stories the way they deserve. Check it out, and thanks again for World Anvil for sponsoring this video. So today we're going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys what the current build that you can play, as I said, right now looks like, what you're going to be able to do in it, what you're going to be able to actually check out. As I mentioned in the intro as well, that this is still, of course, very much a work in progress. This is a development build of the mod, so don't go into it thinking that it's going to be like a full release or anything else along those lines. As I mentioned, it's come such a long way since the previous release. So of course, we have all of these cultures now, and your starting culture does somewhat matter because it does define the type of race that you're going to be able to play as. I believe they have also been messing around with some of the faction stats as well. Like I think Gondor's is fully changed as well, which is pretty cool. Mordor also has some additional coding put into it, bigger party sizes, etc. And other ones just haven't been touched yet. So like these actual statistics are very much a work in progress, which makes a lot of sense considering a lot of these stuff is all just going to be changed and stuff. But you can come in, obviously, if you pick a right culture, you're going to be able to play as human. If I go back and say, for example, pick the Uruk-hai, I'm going to have the Uruk-hai race, and I can kind of change between my actual base mesh as well, which is really, really cool. So I can make a little addition. Could even play as someone in Isengard who is a human, so I like that addition as well. But yeah, these base meshes are really, really cool. And definitely one of the coolest ones right here is going to be the Dwarven base mesh as well. This is a proper Dwarven base mesh right here, which is super cool. So, again, they're going to be much shorter than humans. I know, put it in the book of God, wait, wrong universe. But yeah, these guys are going to be very, very kind of stocky, very short on the battle map. And yeah, it looks really, really cool. And again, to have these guys amazing. It's just going to make the dwarves feel really, really unique. But yeah, it's the same with every single race. Finally, you also have like the elves as well, but I believe, oh sorry, these aren't even me. Okay, maybe you don't have the elves. I feel like they're a little bit different, like they're scrawnier and stuff, but they are still classed as humans in this. Okay, so here we are on the campaign map right now. So if you guys remember previously on the map, as I just load it all back in because I obviously re-downloaded the mod for the dev build. But yeah, so if you remember last time on the, I believe it was like the March release, we basically just had the forces of Rohan right here. I don't think they had custom models for their sprites yet, but yeah, we had all of Rohan, which has actually gone through some changes right now. You see the river winding down through Isengard has been shifted over. The mountains of Helm's Deep have been brought out to basically add in these extra choke points. But yeah, we had Rohan, and then we also had Gondor, and then we have the beginnings of Mordor with a few additional stuff. There were none of these custom banners or anything else along those lines. Again, we can obviously also now have Barad-dûr in all of its glory with the eye right there, which is awesome. Of course, Mount Doom looking very good, spitting out the molten lava. There's really cool settlements like this, and especially if you go until nighttime, Mordor just looks really, really good, especially if we come over here again, all the pits and stuff with the lava spitting out and like the ash and stuff. Obviously as well, I mean, it's Morgul looks so great. I mean, just take a look at that. It looks awesome with the glowing, really, really cool. But yeah, so speaking of the expansion to the map, we of course have a lot more stuff down to the south. Now, the Haradrim are very much, I think, the most recent addition, so a lot of their banners and stuff just aren't quite done. But the Haradrim now fill out the southern parts of the map. We even have Umber down here as well, with a very, very cool custom model right there with the docks and everything else along those lines, looking very cool. So Umber have recently been brought in, so yeah, a lot of this southern stuff has been implemented. Of course, as we go further northwards, we also have the Easterlings. However, we now also have the addition to Dol Guldur, which looks very, very cool. Gundabad are the faction, but I think it's just made it into the dev build over on Patreon, which is cool. And then, of course, you also have the awesome Lothlorien right here with the trees looking very beautiful. Make our way further north. Dale have been implemented in a very basic form with a kind of cool little dockyard right there. And of course, the dwarfs at Erebor have also been filled out, and they have a couple other mountain fortresses out here that you guys can take a look at. But yeah, overall, the map is expanded massively. Of course, as well, I didn't even mention, we also do have the forces of Dunland over here again with some custom models. And then finally, Rivendell have been implemented again in a very, very basic form. But again, the Elves of Rivendell are there, and you can see them on the map. So as you can tell, a lot has been added on here since the March build that we last got our hands on right there. Isengard, we got Gundabad, we've got the Elves of Lothlorien and Rivendell, Dale, we've got the obviously the forces of Thranduil, the Woodland Realm, we've got the Dwarfsmen, the Easterlings, the Haradrim, Umber. Like the map has expanded massively, and of course, as I mentioned, lots of improvements over here as well in like Edoras and the rest of Rohan. A lot of these paths leading to Helm's Deep now look a lot cooler. Obviously, you got the Gap of Rohan right here as well, making the way into Gondor. So there's like a whole wealth of there it is right here. Yeah, there's a whole wealth of additional stuff. But they've also been working hard as well on units. So the Gondor troop tree is very vast. I would say probably the most complete, but it has also received a whole wealth of updates since the March build. I think previously we had like a rough troop tree which looked like this. Of course, you still have a whole wealth of the awesome looking Gondorian soldiers with several different variants of helmets. You got Fountain Garden, you got Gondorian archers here with all custom bows. Now you can see them right there. You got some really cool Gondorian knights, but they've also been working on additional troops from the factions. So as of right now in this build, again, they'll probably be split up with some code later on down the line. But yeah, they've also started to work on a lot of the Thieves of Gondor, because of course Gondor was made up of not just the Imperial soldiers you saw in Minas Tirith, but also soldiers from across the actual kingdom itself. So of course you have the soldiers from Pelargir, a lot of them kind of having a unique style, javelin, marine style infantry, which will be great with war sails. Over here we also have the Axemen of Lasanak, I believe is how you pronounce it perfectly. And again, they're focused in on heavy axe infantry, these two-handed axe infantry as well, which get really, really hard. Over here you have the Landen Knights, which are these big old two-handed infantry swordsmen, again getting ready to get stuck in. Over there you got the Belfalas pikemen right there. You got more bowmen from Blackroot, the Blackroot Vale bowmen, I remember them from Third Age Total War. You have the Penithganir champions, you've got the Aura Benahirek bowmen, and also got some Penithganir cavalry as well with some awesome horse gambesons there, as well as the Knights of the Silver Swan. Again, I mean, beautiful stuff right here. And that is just, again, you know, some of the soldiers. There's also noble troop trees as well. So if you come over to like Dol Amroth and you take a look at some of these soldiers and some of the noble troop trees right here, again, you can see them right there. So yeah, Dol Amroth have a very, very unique kind of roster there with their pages, which go up into Swan Knight commanders and cavalry and other things along those lines. Very, very awesome. And yeah, Gondor definitely has the most fleshed out unitary. Mordor is not that far behind them. And again, I think one of the biggest things about the Mordor, and I'm not going to go through that for every single faction because we'll be here for hours, but yeah, Mordor definitely have seen some big improvements across the board, and I guess the forces of evil, because again, a lot of the evil forces are all just stuck in here, so you can mess around with them and have some fun. But yeah, so Mordor now have all custom weapons, and they also have all custom armors and shields, and I think pretty much every evil faction has some unique weaponry to them, so we're not going to be wielding Bannerlord swords, they're not going to be wielding stuff that you're just like not that big fan of. We also have, again, some orc models being implemented in, so you of course have the Uruks of Mordor, and they're also starting to work on the actual orc models as well, which are obviously going to be a bit smaller. I know, again, before someone in the comments says Oryx and Orcs are just a different name for it. Yeah, we get it. But again, you can just understand these orcs will just be a bit more scrawnier. They'll be a bit more of the like more traditional orc that you're used to seeing. And then the Uruks again are going to be very, very big. We also have this beautiful armor from the Black Numenorians as well, looking very, very cool. These things also have some nice units, and they're getting some variations as well implemented in them with another kind of helmet and a few other weapons and stuff like that. We then also have some archers of Rune, and then finally the Eastling cavalry as well. The Haradrim as well also are not forgotten. You can see their entire unitary right here. They are also, again, moving forward, they are also going to be trying to next year get in the Oliphants as well. That's kind of on their bucket list for the beginning of next year, is to work on the animations, the skeletons, and everything else, because they recently got elephants in for the Dance of Dragons mod, and then these two teams do work relatively closely. They're very friendly, so I imagine there'll be a little bit of crossover there, and yeah, getting the Oliphants in is a priority for them, so that'll be very exciting at the beginning of the next year. But again, you can see the Haradrim unitary, again, it's fully fleshed out, very, very awesome. Oh yeah, there is also wargs as well. The wargs were donated to them from the Alliance mod team, and again, these work great. I think they have custom animations in this as well, or at least they're working on custom animations for the mount attacks and stuff like that, so the wargs will be very, very vicious. Rohan's troop tree has gone through a bit of a upgrade as well, which is always good to see. Right here, I believe we can see some of their custom West March veterans right here, so again, some custom unique soldiers to depending on where you're recruiting them from. Over here, we have some of the heavier cavalry from West Ennet, right here, the heavy shot cavalry, and again, you can see the armor just looks incredible, really, really nice stuff. Again, some more, yeah, the elites right there, and then you also have some of the lower tiers. Edoris's unitary, again, you can see right here, going up to probably one of the more kind of filled out ones, but yeah, you've got the Edoris Master Swordsman, the Master Spearman, and then going up to the Riders of Rohan in that awesome kind of like Theoden-esque armor ready to get stuck in. Some pretty high tiers as well. I mean, the King's Royal Guard as well looks incredible for these horse lords. Isengard's troop tree, again, is going to be, you know, very similar to what you know and love from the forces of Isengard. Uruk heavy infantry, pikes, they've got wargs to them, berserkers as well. And one thing I also quite like as well is they do up to some, like, they have berserkers that then evolve into these bad boys as well. So it's like, yeah, we have these berserkers, which are 200 infantry, and we've upgraded them to be these crazy boys right there. They've got crossbows, these reavers as well, which are more lighter infantry, obviously the wargs with custom weapons as well. And again, that's the big thing as well, is that pretty much every one of these factions all have custom weapons provided for them, which again makes such a difference. You just don't see them using the weapons of a different faction. It feels unique and adds a lot of flavor. Again, custom crossbows as well. The elves do have some units in, so again, I don't think Lothlorien has any unique soldiers right now. These are going to basically be the Eladris elves right here, which are kind of a mix of Rivendell units as well, which we can obviously all see. But yeah, the elves, again, fully fleshed out unitary again, and they have different variants to them as well, different capes, different helmets and stuff. I really like this one with the cloak over the mouth, looks very, very cool. But yeah, you know, for like, you know, a faction that isn't really the main focus for them, fully fleshed out right there and looking very, very cool. The Elves of the Woodland Realm are fleshed out though, and again, they have very unique armor and weaponry. Again, all these are custom weapons as well, custom bows, custom arrows, everything else that you'll see right here looks awesome. Again, the shields looking very cool. So the Elves are, again, two different types right there between the Woodland Elves and the Inladris Elves. The Dwarfs have probably one of the biggest unit rosters. They really went hard. Keyforce absolutely went ham with the Dwarven rosters when it came to modeling. So yeah, the Dwarfs right there, my heart's kind of broken. They recently fixed the picture generation previously because the dwarf was a different model. He'd only be peeking over the bottom of it, but now they've changed it so it's actually fixed right here. But yeah, the dwarven roster is huge and looking very, very cool. You have the different forces from the Iron Hills right there, and I believe there is also a different form of them from the west as well. There's like a different set of dwarven armors and weapons right there. But yeah, again, these guys look really unique. I feel like they've really tightened up this roster as well. Previously, the dwarven roster was very, very big, and there's just a million trees everywhere. And I don't think you need that. I think they made a right decision here of really condensing this down for the Iron Hills. But again, like so much of this stuff is changing, and you know, this is a development build for a reason that you guys will get your hands on. Yeah, here we go. No, these are the Iron Hills as well. Okay, so maybe they completely took out the dwarfs from the west, or maybe I'm just missing them right there. I believe Dale are currently using the forces of the dwarfs as well. So Dale are a faction that are on the map, but they're not actually. Oh yeah, here we go. Here are the Erebor recruits again. So yeah, these guys got a very, very high tier. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan going all the way up to tier 8. Maybe that feels a bit too crazy, and like kind of capping it at tier 6, tier 7. But again, we'll have to do some playing. Love the custom beards for the dwarfs as well. They look really nice. A whole wealth differences, the bowman right here. So yeah, you can see the Iron Hill dwarfs are different from the Erebor dwarfs right there as well. But yeah, I believe Dale are also using that roster. And then finally, Gundabad are on the map, but this is like the most work in progress faction. You also have Mordor trolls as well, which are currently in. Yeah, these guys are just using the Mordor stuff. If you want to support them on Patreon, you do get access to their development build, and I think Gundabad have just or are going to be put in very, very soon. So if you're interested in the Gundabad's playstyle, they are on the map. They are currently work in progress, but yeah, they're looking very, very cool. So of course, we have the expansion of the campaign map, which has obviously exploded with the awesomeness of so many more different factions. Got a whole wealth around it. However, that is not the only thing that has been improving. They have also been working on scenes. Now, this is going to be their main focus going forward for the next, I think, 3 months they set out. They put a poll in Patreon. So again, if you want to help try and develop the future of the mod, you can do so by supporting them on Patreon and being able to vote on these polls. They basically asked what people wanted to see between more armors, more weapons, new factions, implemented map expansions, or if they wanted to focus on scenes. And people, majority of people did say they wanted to see more of these scene battle maps. I think as of right now, they have about 4 of these in. I'm not sure if Kandros is in yet. It is done, but it's not currently quite in. But yeah, just taking a look at the quality of this, it looks really, really awesome with all the Uruk-Sigurd. He's like a bit nervous. I feel like he's about to put his fingers together and say ooh woo as we go across right here. But yeah, I mean, just the detail in these maps look awesome. Again, these are siegeable maps as well. And yeah, this is going to be the main focus going forward for the mod over the next couple months, is going to be basically designing more custom maps in more generic castles as well, so not necessarily stuff like Orthanc and, you know, Minas Tirith, etc., but giving the player like options to just like fight a Gondorian castle, and it's going to be different from vanilla. It's not just going to be a vanilla castle. Minas Tirith is continuing to be improved, and it has actually come a long way. Again, I don't think the current build is the one that they're showing. They were showing on Patreon and also in the Discord. They have actually filled out a large portion of the upper walls. I think it's just the bottom layer now that needs improvement. So yeah, Minas Tirith, I think, has come a long way since this version of it. It's just not currently in this build. But again, looking very cool, kind of giving you an idea of what it will eventually look like. So yeah, I think at the moment only Orthanc is like a fully customizable castle, but very close to completion. We do have Kandros. I believe Peligir is also very, very close to completion. I believe there is also a castle, I think it's maybe this castle, that it maybe is not updated in this build as well. But again, if we jump into it, you can kind of get a good idea of what they're going for right here. Yeah, this castle has all been filled out and stuff, and that actually does look really, really cool in the dev build right there. So again, you're not going to be getting loads of scenes in this update of the game. However, that is something that I'm going to be focusing on. So maybe in the third dev build release of the mod, you'll see tons more kind of scattered around. There are also as well a couple mechanics in the game. There are custom AIs where if we actually take a look at it, I think you can take a look at it if you go to campaign. No, sorry, not this one. Go to options, go to more options. Yeah, you can see there are slight adjustments to the diplomacy to kind of kick off the war. Isengard will attack Rohan at certain times, and you can obviously adjust that if you want to. So you can kind of get the idea of how they're going to be doing the War of the Ring, being able to set it off. I imagine it will be similar to Realm of Thrones. They also have a kind of like I guess a push and pull bar, which does spawn when the war does rock. Also, just look how insane this Mordor looks. It looks so good, man. But yeah, they do have a bar that spawns at the top of your screen when the war does kick off, and as one side starts to win, they'll progressively get more bonuses, and they'll kind of improve. So it's kind of like a tug of war with that, and you can see if the forces of good are beating the forces of evil until the ring is, of course, destroyed. That's basically everything for the campaign. Tons of map improvements, tons of new weapons, armors, rosters, and there's enough factions on the campaign map now that I think you can feasibly have a great time doing a campaign. Of course, there's still plenty more to go until it can become more functional. I think balancing is going to be a big thing for all the factions. I believe in this dev build they have toned down a lot of the stats, or in this public release build they have toned down a lot of the stats, but it could not quite be in yet. I didn't actually check, but yeah, they are constantly working on balancing, but there's also not so much of a point of doing a massive balance overhaul until they've kind of got everything they want in, and then they'll kind of look at how to change stuff as the AI does swing really, really fast, and toning all that stuff down I think is going to be important. But not only do they have all that campaign stuff in, they also have functioning, working custom battles. So here is their custom battle stuff, which is really exciting. So you can basically come over here and see. So here is their custom battles. You can come over here, you can mess around with the different types of factions by just simply selecting them. You can see all the units right here. So Mordor do have access to a lot of the other unit rosters. You can grab in trolls in your army, orc warriors. You can grab in a whole bunch of black uruks. You can obviously choose between certain lords. Other things as well that they have implemented, especially for factions like Gondor and Rohan, are a ton of horse gambesons as well. Such a small thing that many people might not just bother about it, but I've seen this horse armor, which the Nazgul currently has, a million times, you know. I assume that's, yeah, the same one. Yeah, it's not a custom one right there. You know, or maybe it is. I actually can't even notice. I guess maybe I haven't seen it a million times. But yeah, having the custom horse armors, like, you know, diff changing is just really important. But yeah, you can pick between all the different factions. You want to play as some dwarves, you can do so, and you can basically pick and choose the type of units you want to see. Again, you can see more of the unit rosters right here. And yeah, if we just jump in again, you guys can see some of the battle stuff right here. Yeah, this is a vanilla armor, so you obviously can see a Nazgul looking very, very cool. Nazgul looks a bit too big for this horse. Obviously, we're going to have to customize that. You can also see the trolls custom weapon as well. Now, keep in mind, the trolls are still very much a work in progress, and I think being able to stick these guys in like a specific group and stuff is going to be pretty important, because yeah, their spacing and stuff does look a bit ridiculous. But yeah, in actual campaign, you won't be selecting as many of them as I maybe have. Again, you get a nice little glimpse of some of the actual like normal Uruk units, some of the goblins, so you can see, some of the normal orcs right here, so you can see the differences in their armors and weapons. And then as we make our way over, as the Gondorians crest this position, I'll never get sick and tired of seeing the Gondorian units. Custom shields as well have also been fully implemented with all these custom weapons, helmets. I've given these guys a lot of the different thief units as well, so these aren't going to be like the Ministerial infantry with their steel shields. Some of the custom lords as well. I think they're still yet to take out all the other lords as well. I think there's plenty of other ones to take out. But yeah, you can see some of the trolls in combat, just so you guys can see a little bit of it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, go download this right now. Go show some love to the devs. They've done an incredible job. And as I mentioned, this is like the best that you can do if you want to check out the mod. Again, still very much a work in progress. Still plenty of progress left to go to actually make it a fully functioning, cool custom campaign. But keep in mind that this is like a development build of the mod. So, you know, you wouldn't normally get access to this. You know, this will be something that we've been working on in the background, which is really cool. I also recommend as well that you guys do go support them on Patreon, show them some love. You'll get access to the most recent version of their dev build, where you can mess around with it, check it out, have some fun. And again, I think that has Gundabad in, and I think it's about a month or maybe 2 months on. I think there's a couple extra custom settlements in as well, and you can spawn them for as little as $5. All the support does go towards commissioning more weapons, armors, and they show off basically everything that you guys, you know, where your money basically goes and what it's commissioning. And you can also get to vote as well on what you want it to be commissioned as well, which I think is quite cool. It does seem like the balancing of the weapons maybe has been improved greatly as well, which is great. So yeah, maybe yeah, it's been improved. Oh my god, the trolls are getting slaughtered right now. These Gondorian heavy infantry are cutting my dudes down with their polearms. Of course, as well, custom battles and stuff like with the weapons and stuff haven't been fully implemented, like the bonus damages and stuff. That'll be coming, I'm sure, later on down the line, where halberds might do more damage to stuff like trolls and wargs, creatures of the monstrous nature and stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. As I said, I'll leave a link to it down below in the description when it is released. If it isn't down there, then it hasn't released yet. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, drop a comment. Maybe you want to see some more content on this mod. I'm always happy to cover it, and I really do kind of just wait and see what you guys, the response to these videos get kind of dictates what I cover. So if you guys enjoyed, drop a like, drop a comment. I'll see you in the next time.